Mention Denny's, America's largest chain of family restaurants, and two things come to mind: an inexhaustible breakfast called the Grand Slam, and a seemingly impossible problem called racism. Denny's minority customers complained that they were told to show identification before being served, that they were asked to wait longer than white customers to be seated, and then were seated in segregated areas. And some said they were asked to pay for their meals in advance. After several racial discrimination lawsuits, Denny's embarked on what may be the largest racial sensitivity experiment in the country.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good, thank you. Welcome to the Weekend 2 workshop.
Karen Reagan and Andre Clark are training these 17 Denny's managers on how to avoid offending minority customers.
Do not touch them, do not follow them out of the building, do not use profanity or racial slurs, and do not question somebody's immigration status.
They let us sit in on a day-long racial sensitivity seminar that managers at all 1,652 Denny's restaurants must take to make sure they and their staffs treat minority customers like everyone else. One of the racial stereotypes at Denny's was that black customers don't tip. The group was shown this demonstration video.
I'm real sorry, but I do have other customers, and they tip.
I think you better get your manager over here, and I do mean now.
As part of learning how to deal with discrimination, the managers were asked to role-play the situation they just saw in the video. One played the concerned manager, the other the customer who was just insulted by a waitress.
She said, "I'm not waiting on you all don't tip." That means she's discriminating against me. She got a problem with black people.
I'm glad you alerted me to the situation, and our policy is not to discriminate. We have a no tolerance policy.
Well, she need not to be working here. Y'all need to fire her, something.
And I will take care of the situation. I'm very sorry, ma'am, if this ever happened.
This unprecedented training grew out of two separate class action lawsuits that earned Denny's its reputation about race. The one that got the most attention happened in 1993, when a group of President Clinton's Secret Service agents couldn't get served at the Denny's in Annapolis, Maryland.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Relman.
John Relman, an attorney with the Washington Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, represented the Secret Service agents when they sued Denny's.
In the hour that they were there, the 6 African-American officers could not get served breakfast, while the white officers sitting in the same area of the restaurant, served by the same waitresses, received not only one helping, but seconds and thirds in some cases. They are trusted with the leader of the free world, and Denny's, of all places, will not serve them breakfast.
If you wanted to set up a classic situation to prove whether a business was discriminating, this is what you would set up.
We couldn't have dreamed up a better scenario.
A scenario so good that Relman soon expanded the complaint into a class action suit representing customers in 49 states. You started hearing from other people, right?
We did. It was an explosion.
One of the things I've heard, tell me if it's true, is that the stereotypes about black customers were so embedded that even black waiters and black managers were in some cases discriminating. Is that true?
Yeah.
Marcus Diggs is a Denny's manager in training.
Young black kids come in, and already their perception is they're not going to leave a tip. They're just going to not going to leave a tip.
Even a black waiter thinks that.
Right.
Rather than go to trial, Denny's settled the lawsuits in 1994, agreeing to pay $46 million to almost 300,000 customers.
Did every single one of those people suffer discrimination? Probably not. But what the company was saying was, we want to settle this, and we want to put this behind us. We don't want to keep getting hit with lawsuits. We want to move on.
Moving on meant hiring a new CEO. They got Jim Adamson from Burger King, where he had turned that company around financially and was known in the restaurant business as someone who had no tolerance for discrimination.
This train is going one way. We're going to treat each other with dignity. If you don't like the way the train's going, get off.
That's the first thing he told his staff when he joined the troubled company in 1995.
If you discriminate, I'm going to fire you. This was
basically hello.
It was
I'm
hello.
Jim. I'll fire you if you discriminate. Tough.
It needed to be. I set the values in this company, in the culture in this company, and I think it needed to be awakened.
Did you fire people?
We have fired people for discriminating.
There was apparently an attitude at Denny's that blacks were bad for business.
To say blacks are bad for business is almost, I can't even think that thought. So if it was here, it was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Dumb, but pervasive. Denny's was almost a breeding ground for racial problems. Open 24 hours, it attracts customers looking for inexpensive meals and expecting top-rate service.
It's a prescription for disaster when you have an untrained workforce that's at this lower end and is suddenly now being put in a situation where you're asking them to serve people.
That's why every one of the 70,000 employees at Denny's must go through the racial sensitivity course, where one of the lessons is that if a customer believes he was discriminated against, the best approach is not to argue, but to apologize.
And when you talk about someone who said, I have been discriminated against in your restaurant, you've got to take the time and make sure everything you do is presenting a message that says, I am very sorry this happened to you in our restaurants, and I just want you to know we don't really go for that at all, and I want to do what I can to make this right for you.
What are the other specifics that they're told in the training?
It's all from, when you seat an African American, this is almost silly to say, but don't put them in the back of the restaurant if there's room, somewhere else where everybody else is seating. Don't sit African Americans at a dirty table and sit white people at a clean table.
You have to train someone to do that?
Unfortunately.
And you, ma'am?
At this Denny's in Waldorf, Maryland, Joan Barner is known as Mom to her customers, who on this day included me and associate producer Michelle Webb. Joan showed us what she learned in sensitivity training about how the simple act of putting a plate down could be misinterpreted.
So you take that plate and you have to be conscientious, setting that plate directly in front of you gently. Because if I throw this plate off a balance and I bounce it off that table, it looks like I just don't want to be bothered. I've tossed my food at you.
See, I would say, oh, she's having a bad day, and why am I putting up with this? And you would say...
She doesn't want to serve me because I'm black.
And you would say that?
I would think that.
Joan even learned that the way you hand change to a customer can offend.
Here's your change. 3 into your hand. That's 4, and that's 5.
And you put it right in my hand?
Right into your hand.
Now, why did you do that?
So that no one takes offense that you didn't want to touch them.
And I never knew that. I never knew that just not touching somebody's hand, they might take that as discrimination. I don't want to touch them. In my mind, it was that I didn't want to offend them and rub my germs on them, but that's not what it was.
Troy's job, Joan's job, every job at Denny's is regulated by this 85-page consent decree, a legal document Denny signed when it settled the big class action lawsuits. The consent decree defines every aspect of life at Denny's, how all the restaurants must operate, how customers must be treated. And this sign must be posted at every Denny's restaurant. It says they will not discriminate, and there's an 800 number for customers with grievances to call the Office of the Civil Rights Monitor to complain. The Civil Rights Monitor also organizes secret drop-in spot checking of restaurants.
African American and white testers are sent out undercover randomly to restaurants and also to restaurants where there's an indication of a problem to see how people are being treated. And that's unique. That's never been done before. In the first year of the decree, there were 650 tests that were run.
The results of the tests are sealed, but spot checking continues. It's Big Brother. You have someone surveying them every minute they're on the job. At least they feel that.
Absolutely. There is that feeling of Big Brother, but what we're trying to do is train them, enlighten them, that not only are they going to be better at serving the customer at the restaurants, they're going to be better in the communities they live.
As part of the training, Denny's managers are shown an ABC primetime live report about a black man who was discriminated against repeatedly.
Watching this video along with, people of other origins and ethnic backgrounds, we have Hispanic, we have Oriental, we also have colored here as well. It's like, man, I feel, it's like if I tried to put myself in their shoes, I would be very, very mad. I would be angry at white people.
How many of you, when Rush used the term colored?
Sorry.
No, seriously. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. How many of you, when he used the term color, said, ouch?
Right. It's done. Yeah.
Now, that's a learning for both sides.
It's interesting that he didn't mention the word Oriental, which is offensive to Asians. Denny's racial problems went beyond clashes at the restaurants. When Ray Hood Phillips was hired after the consent decree to set up a diversity program, she discovered that she was one of the very few blacks in the executive suite.
Black senior managers when you got here, how many?
Denny's one.
Black franchise owners?
There was one, African American.
Black advertising firms?
None.
Black law firms?
None.
Black suppliers?
None.
Did you think when you looked at that and you arrived here that this was a racist company?
I wouldn't have wanted to work here.
She searched the country for new hires, and today, it's fair to say, Denny's has a new complexion.
25% of Denny's senior managers are minority. 20% are African American.
And that's just in 3 years?
That's in 3 years.
There are now many minority board members, suppliers, and franchise owners. And who'd have thought that just 3 years after the Secret Service agent sued Denny's, that the NAACP would be making the CEO of Denny's their Man of the Year?
We're a good company today.
Yeah, but you did have to be forced.
We had to be forced. I wasn't here, but yes, we had to be forced. There's a lot of companies that could be forced to do this. We got forced, but look at where we are today, Leslie.
Where are you on the
I would
scale?
say in the scale, we're in the turning side of this. We are not finished by any means.
We're doing everything humanly possible. There is no company in the United States of America who is more on the point on this issue than Denny's.